Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this winter relay hosted by Metal Gear Speedrunners. Hope you're having a very enjoyable afternoon with our races. And we've got another fantastic race coming up for you now. This is Metal Gear MSX being ran by Joseph Joestar 316 for Team Armstrong and a House Test for Team Sears. And here on the commentary couch, we've got Erifram and Sergeant Silent. Take it away, gentlemen.
Hello, hello. Glad to
Howdy,
be here.
howdy.
How are you doing, Airframe?
I am doing all right. It's glad to be out of the crypt, as it seems like, or pulled me out of retirement for this.
Yeah, it's been a while since you've been active on the MSX scene, so I'm super happy to see you doing this, and I look forward to seeing some runs from you in the near future. But right now, we're getting two great runners showcasing what this route has become. It's actually changed quite a bit since Airframe's time, so they'll be off very soon here. I'm super excited. First thing you're going to notice is they are playing on easy. That is because this game is hard, and it's much easier and faster to play on easy. I believe originally they did play on original. Is that correct, Airframe?
Yeah, I can confirm that because I actually started off with the original category because that's what the leaderboards were set up as. And then one day, as I was playing, I had a particularly terrible run, and I found about the death abuse, and that led into experimentation from there, which eventually led to easy and some heated discussions.
Yeah. The game and the board have changed quite a bit, but I think it's in a pretty good space right now between, difficulties being shown and what categories are and stuff. So particularly right now we're running a category which is any percent RTA, which means that time is real time, which is the timer you can see on the bottom, as opposed to IGT, which uses the internal clock. IGT would just death abuse a couple times to get these rations, but this is RTA. That's really slow, so it's actually faster for us to get 6 rations, which you can see we have a rank, which is called class at the bottom. That dictates the maximum amount of ammo we can hold. So right now we can hold 6 rations, and we want all 6 of those because we're going to carry those for as long as we can get them. This run is pretty notorious for its RNG. If you'd like to speak to that, Airfram, considering what floor we are currently on.
Yeah, I'll refer back to in the old days, this was a very stressful area because in the original difficulty, you can only have 3 rations and you're going through the gas area. You had to go pick up the gas mask, which was an additional minute because you're backtracking. With moving to easy, you can use the 6 rations to just take advantage of your health bar and the fact that the gas affects you much slower. You can use the rations to power through any type of damage that you're gonna get.
Yeah, so the room in particular, both runners just passed through. If you're going for world record level runs with the current strats, essentially runs are decided here. The runners want to use no more than 1 non-scripted ration burn, which means enemies shooting them or contacting them. Otherwise, they will have to go out of their way to get some backup rations for safety, especially in a marathon setting. It looks like both of them were able to get through safely. Right at the end, they both popped the ration. That's a pretty normal spot for this, so most likely both of them will have to be getting backup rations. But yeah, this part of the run is pretty scary. This is our second forced ration use, the gas room, as Airframe mentioned. Now we're moving into this electric floor. The intended mechanic is to go backtrack and get a missile and take it out, but that's slow, and again, we're on easy. We have 6 rations. We're also rescuing a lot of POWs here. Would you like to explain what exactly is happening with POWs? Because this is a fast-paced game.
Well, with the Prisoner Wars, it's basically you get 5, you get an extra star, and you're trying to collect as many stars as possible to get a certain item, and then we take care of that later. 5 Prisoners of Wars per star, and that it affects your save points and the amount of health and the amount of items you can carry, some of which you need to increase much later on. But that has been canceled out by the death abuse to instantly refill it later on. We'll go into more description of that later.
It actually, so, that, I heard you mention that it affects your save points. That's actually exclusive to the NES version. The US version, if the runner does, or sorry, the NTSC PAL version, the PS2, if the runner does die, they will actually respawn at the last elevator. With a few exceptions, they'll respawn at the last elevator room that they entered here. Yeah, NES and MSX are two very different versions of this game, so it is worth clarifying. This is the MSX version, which has been re-released on PC, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 3. The runners are running that version, not the original MSX, not the NES. It's real nitty-gritty, but...
And unfortunately, I'm going to have a little bit of bleed over because I've been verifying some NES runs, and that's why Sergeant's here to keep me in line as the old retiree.
Don't say that, you're coming back, we all know it.
Eventually, once the monster hits daycare.
True. Yeah, I imagine that takes a large chunk of your time. So, right now, we are getting captured. It's required to get captured to progress the game. In order to get captured, though, you have to reach rank 2, which is why we were collecting all those POWs. We got the 5 fastest POWs, and I think you get +1 off the top of my head, but essentially, this game's routing is how do we get 20 POWs, the amount we need to hit 4, as quickly as possible, and that's something you have to consider through the whole route. So, this is Shotmaker. He's technically our second boss, but we don't care about 4 Horsemen. Shotmaker is a terrible boss, and no one has ever escaped Shotmaker. Not once. Trust me. But
we used to have to shoot him dead. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, we used to kill Shotmaker, but House, where you going? Wait, no, Joe. Well, yeah.
See, this is where the NES bleeds over because we just skip like that, like in the NES version.
Yep, so as Airframe said, before me and another runner, Puzon, came and started looking at rerouting this game, and another runner, Alien Hybrid, we actually used to grab the SMG, which is a weapon we skip entirely now. We used to kill him, and a couple other bosses, and then we found out why. You don't have to.
But I like to shoot. That's why I picked it up. That's why I kept it in.
Don't worry, we still get to shoot a couple bosses here. There's a few we can't skip. Speaking of unskippable, Bomb Blast Suit. If you've ever played this game casually, welcome to the area where almost everyone quits or looks up a guide. I don't, like, the way they expected you to solve this back when this game came out in, what, 87? Basically, yes, you did have to punch every wall you see here until Snake went, huh?
Or call 1-800 Game Guide for your $3 an hour, or per minute, or whatever it was.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that. There's also dogs here. The dogs are in this category. They're at best a nuisance. We pretty much ignore them. If we were running any percent IGT, you would actually take a death to these dogs in order to save IGT. But we're not, so don't worry about it. The dogs are slow.
I like to say this category is like the casual chill run where you just sit there, crack a beer, and run this run, compared to the IGT where you're resetting for perfection.
It really is, yeah. Like, you just, if you don't care about world record, or at least don't care about the RNG the game dealt you, because all these guards, like how they move, how they shoot, is pretty much, to the human, or to us, a player, it's essentially random. If you don't care about that and how that's going to affect your run, yeah, you really could do that. You just sit down, boom, 3 runs in an hour. It's just such a quick run, too.
Yeah, it really is.
So this is Machine Gun Kid. He's another boss. Well, that was Machine Gun Kid.
He's just another speed bump.
He's back, you'll... No, House, Joe, come... Guys...
Drive forward, drive back. That's all it is. Shifting gears.
Well, that was Machine Gun Kid. That's another boss we used to take out with the SMG, because we like to shoot, but no, not worth it anymore. So, in general, when we're taking lines in this game, the goal is just, like, while rotating loses essentially no time, you do always want to take the fastest line from point A to point B in any 2D game like this. Joe having a little trouble with the menu there. That's unfortunate. But yeah, you want to take lines as quickly as possible, so you're going to see the players taking very particular lines so that they have to do the minimal amount of movement that is excessive out of the way. Like, for example, this bridge, it's possible to do this bridge in only 2 turns, which both runners did, but trust me, that bridge is very scary. So we're coming up on the Hind. It's our first mandatory boss. This one hasn't changed. Would you like to explain it, Airframe?
You line up where they are. Basically, you take a look at the box lines there. You line up the crack, and you fire about 20 grenades, I think it is.
Yeah, that was Hindy. I don't think we can oversell the bosses here, guys. This is, you pay for what you get. Alright, so we are at the parachute. This is the point where the runners have to decide how much HP do they have, what can they do. They can turn into this truck with keycard 4 without triggering that bomb. It looks like, oh no! Okay, Joe has a backup ration.
Yeah, he does.
That could have been very bad. Both runners hit the bomb going in and then hit the bomb coming out. Because they have rations, that's not a big deal. It is possible to end up there with no rations, but we're good, we're safe, so we're getting another POW. If your route's been correct, you'll hit rank 3 with that POW, which is good because increasing rank increases your ammo, it increases your health, and we really want that because the next building we're heading into is scary. We have to cross the desert first to get there, and on the way, there's a particular lineup we take because of the boss that's coming. So if you
that shoots you for me for 3 screens off. Something to note that is it's more than just adding health, it's refilling health, and as you already saw, House has just walked basically right through the boss. As long as you move through the screen fast enough, you can just take damage abuse instead of instantly dying to it.
Yep. So there was actually a new setup found for that by Joe, who is running right now. If you punch on that screen, it is perfectly lined up to get through the tank as fast as possible. So we're moving on to a next boss. This is the IKEA bulldozer. How did Big Boss get it in here? We will never know, but it's here. So yeah, your grenade...
Union builders.
Yeah. Your grenade routing is really important. You only have 2 to spare, so if you mash too quick and you blow both of those spare grenades, that boss is physically impossible to beat. The only way to damage it is the grenades we have. So we're gonna run around and grab a key item here. This is the antenna. You need to get the antenna in order to make radio communications in this building, which are required to beat the game. Unfortunately, no way around that. And after that, we have House here. He's moving into what is known as Hell Roof. Now, I believe it's mostly called that because of Big Boss, but
yeah.
any percent RTA does not make it any easier. There are some flying guards on this roof that will show up in about 2-3 screens, and the House can end up with anywhere from I got hit twice to I got hit, I'm not making it through the basement alive.
And this is where the disadvantage of dropping the SMG is, because now you have to be a little more cautious. You could just blast your way through previously, but now you kind of gotta pay attention a little more, even though you get refill on rations afterwards. You just gotta make sure you don't become Swiss cheese.
Yep. I missed how many backup rations they both picked up. I think they both got 2, so they should be good. I see Joe has 2 there. I think House also has 2, so most likely they will be a-okay on this run. Because the basement is filled with gas, and you need to, as we did the first gas room, you need to put the rations on, which thankfully in this version of the game are used automatically. The original MSX and the NES version, they are not used automatically. Well, I think they're used... No, that's the water skip. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, not automatically on the NES. It's all manual, and you're fearing double inputs there.
Yeah, that's the fact. So like this room is why both runners opted to go get some safety rations, because as you can see, the gas does tick quite fiercely. Another thing to point out is the runners picked up 5 explosive satchels. They need to use all 5 of them, so if they had mashed and accidentally dropped one, they would be getting here an explosive satchel short, and they would have had to somehow find a backup for that. So Joe is opting to use the ration there so that he can get the rest of the way. That was Madnar, that is Fire Trooper. I think you guys get the gist of what happens with most of the bosses in this game. No. It's not worth Snake's time to do anything with bosses.
I have to admit, this is a little new for me. This is cutting out one of the death abuses I originally put into this route.
Yes, I remember that we, the reroute that me and Puzon and Alien worked on, we actually found out it is possible with good RNG to make it all the way to the second, second death abuse. So that first death abuse is no longer even needed, as long as you get good RNG.
Dude, making me work when I eventually come out of retirement. Maybe not.
The runs come a long way. It'll be exciting. So, both runners are now getting their final POW. The reason for that is because we need to contact Jennifer. Now, Jennifer is a bit snobby. She will not talk to you unless you are a primo soldier. She is why we needed rank 4. You straight up can't call her well, you can, but she'll just be like, I'm not gonna talk to you. So, you have to talk to her. She gives you 2 things, a compass and a rocket launcher. Both of which we need here.
She likes classy people, and you gotta be classy.
True. Yeah. I wonder if that's why they called it class. What came first, classy or class? So, Aerofrim, would you like to talk about what House is going to do? Here. Well...
Navigate the game. Other than sarcasm, House is going to start the death abuse. So this started on a particularly bad run of mine. I was in Building 3 towards the end of the game, and found out that if you die 5 times in a row, all your health and items get refilled instantly, no matter where they're at. So then I took it to this rolling pin here, because this was the very quick room to do it. Die 5 times in a row, you get a special sound, and then you can keep moving forward with an instant refill, and it was quicker than moving all the ways to the traditional ammo refill.
Yeah, so there is a route for, if you wanted to do Big Boss, you cannot take any deaths, so there is a route for that, but it's very far out of the way. It should be noted, if the players touch any pits or roller traps, it's an instant death, regardless, just end of story. And depending on where their last checkpoint is, that could be a bit of a problem. But yeah, as Airframe said, there'll be a chime. So you probably heard it on House when he got it, and you'll see that ammo has essentially just jumped up to like 60. And because this is any %, the runners don't care what they're doing. They're just gonna run through, and so then I started blasting.
Something special to note is, we'll probably talk right over it, because we don't care a lot in this round. This is so chill. Coming up is the Scorpions, which will venom you. If you are playing this on other versions, aka the original version, either on emulation or original gear, the venom does not reset and will screw you over if you're trying to death abuse or reset. You're gonna die.
Yes. The venom, so this game, it's actually worth distincting. There is a death abuse, which is dying to remove conditions like venom, and then there is actually a death farm, which is essentially 5 death abuses in a row. We did get into the nitty-gritty on that. That's a bit of a heated discussion, and that's how we decided on the current categories, was basically whether you did that or not because of how it affects the IGT. So this skip that House is doing here, this was found by Puzon. Originally, we knew it was doable on NES because you could pop rations in that game while swimming for some reason. But we figured, well, you can't use rations while underwater, so it's not possible. And in reality, that translated to nobody had tried it. So Puzon just put his game in, was at full health, and swam across the river and was like, guys, you can just swim.
partially incorrect. It was tried because I did a lot of laboratory work when it was, but the key distinction was I never popped a ration before going in fully into here. So I always had that 3 hits of health before going across and never survived with the 1 bar of health that we have.
I see. I apologize for misquoting that information then, but at the end of the day, this is now a 2.5 minute time save.
It's huge.
Yeah, this was massive. It brought sorry, not 2.5. It's like 5. It brought the game from a 25 average to a 21 minute average. So yeah, it's like 4 minutes of time save. Just knowing you could do that. Also, they fought Dirty Duck. That was an actual boss that they have to kill. If you shoot one of the POWs in that room, you lose a rank. But it doesn't matter. This is any percent. You don't lose ammo when you lose a rank. So, like, okay. You still have enough C4 to beat the game, because C4 is the required amount. You need 16. So House did a pretty cool movement here. This room actually has a couple pits in it. You see Joe going through it now. You can just barely make it around these pits. That looks terrifying. As long as you know your movement, it's pretty good. Or it's pretty easy to do, thankfully. But there is another pit coming up, which if either of these runners have forgotten or are not paying attention, they will run into. Commentator's blessing, they will not run into it.
Trying to cover yourself, I see.
It's there.
Protect yourself from the rude awakening of getting too comfortable in the comfortable run.
Yes, that is a fact. The amount of times I have just into that pit is a non-zero. So this final hurdle is meant to be incredibly challenging, but again, we death farmed, so we have just rations and keys, and we don't care. None of this is scary to us at all, except for the pit. House casually walked around that pit. Perfect walk. Electric floor to the final gauntlet, and here we are coming up on MSX, or Metal Gear TX55. Would you like to explain this boss for us?
Not really, but I will. It's basically follow the pattern. There is a guide for it. I always look at it every time, even though it's like left, right, 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 left, right, left, right.
Yeah, that's close enough.
That's close. It's been about 2 years since I've actually done a run, but place this C4 in the right sequence on the legs, have the rations equipped, ignore the lasers, go left, face big boss, shoot him in the head about 4 times, because 10 is NES, so 4 is MSX, and get out.
Yep, so this is the final boss for a house. We're just gonna run on up and fire 4 rockets and take out a big boss. We're in the ladder. The game gives you an illusion of choice, but in reality, 2 ladders are dead ends. It's only the 3rd ladder that you can take, so time is gonna be coming up for House here. It's gonna be as soon as he crests this top ladder. Joe is hot on his heels. Let us see. And that's time for Hal.
Woo!
GG,
This
Hal.
was a good race. This was a good one.
Man.
Oh god, is Nick here? Yes, okay. And that is time for Joe. GG.
GG's.
Congratulations, House. You was
Thank you.
hot on your heels.
And I was doing so many mistakes, like gosh.
Dude, MSX in a RTA, like, I can't reset marathon environment, very scary.
It's scary. That's why I went for 3 rations as well later. It's like, security, security.
And it's hard to imagine so much stress in a chill run like this.
Honestly, I was very cool before we started. As soon as we hit go, I was like, oh shit, it's on. There's no reset. You have to do this now.
Can't fall back on IGT anymore.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah, now, like, now that you've done this in a relay setting, you should go back and watch me and Puzon's marathon, or relay run, and just see, like, the kind of stuff we tried to pull off in that run. You'll just be like, I can't believe they did that.
Yeah, I remember that still vividly, because I believe you two were also in the same situation, like, oh god, what do I do? Oh no. The
Yeah,
small
yeah.
mistakes. What really bothered me was the small mismenus to be like, oh no, I held a little bit too long. I went one too far. I was like, I was really keen on practicing great menus, and in the end, the menus were my biggest enemy so far.
Yeah. Menus are can be pretty devastating in this game,
Yeah.
but you have 20 minutes to explain this game, so that was not our focus.
Yeah, just to draw attention to that, unfortunately, that's really one of the few areas that you could lose significant time on. If you don't know where your items are landing, you're losing time to those menus, just like any other Metal Gear game.
Yeah, I can vouch for that.
GG, Joe.
You know, yeah, GG's, man. You came prepared. My menus were shaky today, and what really threw me off was I tripped a mine trying to get the level 4 card, and my ration was at a different spot than what I was used to.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of, adjust to that. But,
You both hit the mine going in.
Oh, really?
So
but for me, the ration was like intended to be this way. I was like, I cannot make it anyway down there, so I just use it whenever I see fit.
How many rations did you farm in the desert before you went into the building 2 house? Because I went for 2.
I definitely grabbed I grabbed 2 extra. I had 1 when I left building 1. This is what I kind of practiced for, sort of an ideal case for me. So
yeah, I was really hoping to grab just 1 to total up to 2, but that truck thing really screwed it up for me.
Yeah.
But I was happy my right side punch buffer worked though with the tank again.
I can, by the way, confirm for IGT, I have a PB by 17 seconds here.
Nice.
21
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Sergeant, let me verify that. Let me do some work.
All yours. Yeah, GG.
Oh, yeah,
both of you. That was a crazy run.
Yeah. I did 1
Wow, look at
too
that.
many. I already heard the ring. I was like, okay, I'm done with death farming, and I did 1 extra.
Yeah, we saw you come out and hit it one more time, and it was like
oh no.
Yeah, you guys are about 23 apart IGT, and you're 14 apart RTA. So yeah, that was close.
I gotta watch this back. This is hype.
It's a great showcase, let me tell you that.
Yeah,
All right.
well, some days, it just happens, but it was a really competitive race. I encourage anyone that's interested in trying out Metal Gear. It's a really fast-paced run, as I'm sure Sarge and Aerofram did their absolute best to try to keep up with what was going on screen for both of us. But GG's house, and thank you, Sarge and Aerofram, for providing comms, and of course, thank you to our lovely host Nick for managing this race.
Thanks for racing, both of you.
No problem.
Yeah,
Thanks
1
for
quick
dragging me out of retirement.
Let's go. 1 quick shout out also to the wiki. I've been putting a lot of work into the wiki this week as well. If you learning this run now after seeing this race, I hope you've been impressed. It's very easy to learn. We make very many videos about it, but also there's now a full wiki tutorial, almost done like 95% with maps, so you can easily follow where everyone needs to go. And I hope it encourages more people to learn this game as well. It's very fun, it's very quick, and as you can see, can also be very competitive.
Fantastic. Well done, both of you. Fantastic run. Fantastic commentary as well. Really good show from all of you. Well, if you've been enjoying this, folks, stick around because we've still got more runs to go. Team Sears are in the lead 3-1. So we'll have to see if the next race upsets that at all. It is Twin Snakes being ran by Prufrock and Nick RP Green. Oh, wait, that's me.
I know that one.